Let's talk some sports, baby.
And then remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, fellas, go ahead and keep it in the NFL with a look back on what is known as now as Black Monday. 3 head coaches were fired on Monday. The Jaguars fired head coach Doug Marrone after a 1-15 season. The Jets also canned Adam Gase despite winning 2 of his last 3 games. The most surprising firing, though, is the Chargers' Anthony Lynn, who finished the year 7-9, but was still let go. Adding to those 3, you have, of course, Bill O'Brien, Dan Quinn, and Matt Patricia that were all fired in season, bringing the total vacancies up to 6. It appears that the rest of the league is going to be safe for now, so these are our 6 job openings. So Jay, what do you think list these guys? Any surprises?
Well, I don't think there's a real big need to get into the mid-season firings. Of course, I thought the Bill O'Brien one, as much as I think we all agreed that was there was more than enough just cause for that to go down. I didn't particularly like the timing of it, but in the end, I think all 3 of those guys were deserving of the end of their employment at those particular locations, to put it mildly. But in the interest of these other 3 fine gentlemen with the highest degrees of integrity of the game, I might add. Listen, Adam Gase and Doug Marrone. You just can't excuse 1-15, 2-14. I mean, what else is there to discuss? I mean, pack your bags and get on out of here. I do have to say though, Adam Gase, you go 0-13, you win 2 of 3. We gotta put some level, one piece of shredded cheese of respect on that one. The way to go, Adam. You really came in hot there at the end.
Really appreciate you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you, Adam. Thank you.
Doug, in the case of Maul Dad Doug, as we like to call him from time to time, or as he's affectionately known down there poolside. I think Doug Marrone, in my estimation, is a competent football mind. I think me and Cody, share kind of the same feelings on this guy. But the guy never had a quarterback down there. In all actuality, they managed to squeeze one solid season out of Blake Bortles. Of course, he was buffered by a really strong run game with Leonard Fournette, and that defense was something special. But the front office, whether it's Tom Coughlin, whether it's Dave Caldwell, they just didn't do enough down there to help him. I mean, some of the the quarterbacks well. With Cody Kessler, Mike Glennon, Gardner Minshew. I mean, it's so bad down there in Jacksonville that you really. I have to be honest with you. Our boy Cody, he got a wee bit emotional. He's out there before the season. He's really trying to talk himself into Gardner Minshew. And you just knew this was destined to be a complete train wreck. I mean, we're buying into the bus trips and the short jean shorts and the hair and the mustache and all the rest of it. This was happening before the season. Don't act like you got amnesia. But in the end, it was too much for Doug to overcome, and you can't keep your job at 1-15. And to be quite honest with you, it's unfair to Doug Marrone. I mean, the guy should have been gone last year. I mean, I just can't figure out what this was. It's just ownership asleep at the wheel.
Why is it unfair to Doug Marrone? He got another year, NFL paychecks, got the benefit of being a coach. He got hooked up. It was free money. He been getting a stimulus package.
From a financial perspective, I think it was absolutely right. But this was never going to work. And I think we could all see this coming. I mean, you come up with some fake Holy Trinity trifecta plan of Doug Marrone, Jay Gruden, and Ben McAdoo to, I guess between all of those, you'll transform a 6th-round pick into a 2nd-round pick, and it'll be okay. This was never going to work. And I think deep down in our heart, and his heart of hearts down there, who I'm talking about, the grand old host of this show, knew it wasn't going to work. So that's what you have there, and what happened. But at least you get the first pick in the draft, and you will see what they make of it. Maybe they'll bring Urban Meyer with him. We don't know. I think to some degree, the Anthony Lynn firing, I think that was, that's a bit of a head scratcher, and only because when you look at what happened this year, Justin Herbert as a rookie quarterback, pretty much just started. I mean, I don't think we anticipated that Justin Herbert would play this much this early, and I don't think any of us anticipated he'd play this well. Justin Herbert had one whale of the year. In totality, Justin Herbert was the best rookie quarterback in this draft class, and that's saying something considering the expectations of one Joe Burrow, who of course his season was cut short due to injury, and of course Tua's due to his injuries in his college days. He was handled more with kid gloves early on, but still, to his credit, Justin Herbert performed admirably. And I think just the fact that you seemingly would like to think that you found a quarterback, maybe you would be somewhat interested in sticking with a coach who has been, 33-31. I mean, there's nothing great about that,
Right.
but we've seen far worse. I mean, you look at the records of this season by all these coaches. I mean, as we said, Adam Gase and Doug Marrone, they won 3 games. I mean, a rookie quarterback, 7-9. I mean, that's something. But I think in the end, what it may have came down to is just the continuous blown leads. I mean, I think outside of Atlanta, the Chargers just find the most incredible ways to fall flat on their face when they're trying to hold a lead. I mean, the Denver Broncos did it to them this year. I mean, it was seemingly a game that they could not win, and they looked completely inept through 3 quarters. And next thing you know, Drew Lock looks like John Elway for 1 quarter anyway. The rest of the season he didn't look like it. But it's just, if it's the Chargers, it's bound to happen. They could never hold leads. And I always think, even though a rookie quarterback, the Chargers are continually to, beyond the quarterback position are blessed with just talent seemingly everywhere. I mean, there are many teams that would like to have, a Melvin Ingram and a Joey Bosa, a Mike Williams and a Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry at tight end. And of course, they've had some injury troubles. But I think the Anthony Lynn firing is somewhat of a head scratcher, even though I've never been that much of a fan. As I've always said, I don't think there's a much difference than Anthony Lynn and Vance Joseph when he was coach of the Denver Broncos.
So, you start with Anthony Lynn. So I start with Anthony Lynn. And one of the things I look at when I look at these coaches getting fired, I love myself some Black Monday, and it ain't just because the word black in it. But look, here's the deal. I look at all these quarterbacks, and one thing I've learned about the NFL is this: for head coaches, it's 2 types of head coaches. It's a head coach that has a quarterback and a head coach that's looking for one. And usually, when you're looking for one, you're about to get fired. So I'm looking at this. Bill O'Brien, he had a performing quarterback. Dan Quinn, performing quarterback. Matt Patricia, performing quarterback. Adam Gase, okay, you want to tell me Sam Darnold was up and down? Okay, I give you that, but I thought he performed enough where if you would have put some pieces around him, you would have got a good product. Doug Marrone might be the one guy that can say, wait a minute, after Blake Bortles, bounced or whatever, who did I really have? So he might.
When Blake Bortles is the best thing you had, he didn't have a quarterback. That's the long and short of it.
So he might be the one guy that gets to say, hey, I didn't get a quarterback. Anthony Lynn, yes, I understand. I'm with you, Jay. I am definitely with you. I thought Anthony Lynn, and I said this on the show, I thought Anthony Lynn would at least get another year because of the upward trajectory that Justin Herbert was on. I think it's unfair to bring in a new guy when you got a quarterback that was trying to figure it out in his rookie year. You kind of figure it out together. But, I mean, it is what it is. He got fired. But when I look at these 6 guys, I just play that game. Which guy had a quarterback? Which guy was looking for a quarterback? For the most part, most of these guys had a quarterback. Doug Marrone didn't. So that'll get you fired. But I'm going to tell you just like this. All 6 fires was justified. I mean, it wasn't like when I seen the Anthony Lynn news, I was like, what? Oh my, what? That dude, go find somebody better. Like, I wasn't feeling like that. But, if it was one guy on the list that I thought could have got another year, it was him. Now, I want to say this, and I had called this a week or 2 ago. I think Urban Meyer will be the next head coach of Jacksonville. Why? Because I'm of the like mind of this. They're about to draft Trevor Lawrence. You need a college a like college mind quarterback that knows those younger systems to coach a rookie quarterback and marry that quarterback to that coach to start building success in the future. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but I think it will happen. How do I know? Look at Arizona. They're taking steps towards success. Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, they're getting married together. They're growing up in the system together. We'll see how that maturates in next season and the season after. But I'm a true believer that I think as college football gets younger, your coaching has to get younger. You cannot be out here with this old 90s terminology, 2000s terminology. No, I'm going to need you to get, 2015 or later, something like that. You gotta mesh well with these young talents that's coming out. Why do I say all that? I say all that to say this. If you Robert Salas, Matt, whatever this guy's name is, I can't even say his last name, the DC for the Colts.
Eberflus.
All right. If you some of those cats, I'm telling you right now, if you're a defensive coordinator, the only way you finna start getting a head coaching job in today's NFL, you better be coaching a legendary defense. You better be Dan Quinn with the Legion of Boom. You better be, you got to coach something legendary because this game is getting more and more offensive. Not only that, college kids are starting to transition easier to the NFL game because they're making the game easier for the college quarterbacks. How do you make that easy? You get somebody that talks the same language. Hence, more offensive coordinators from the NFL or college, and when I say offensive coordinator, I mean offensive-minded coaches, because it could be a head coach as well. They are getting put in the head coach position because they want you to start they want their number one pick to start slinging these pineapples as soon as possible. You can't put a defensive coordinator in there and get that result. You need an offensive guy to get that result. And this is why I believe, as good as these defensive guys are that's coming up for head coaching jobs, it's kind of like a running back winning MVP. You ain't winning that joint unless you break a record or just do some outrageous stuff on the ground. And even then, they're going to go find a quarterback that equates to that running back and say, no, the quarterback is going to get it. It's just one of them things. This is how it happened. So I think, these 6 jobs that's open, I would say I do think 5 of them will get filled by an offensive guy. Maybe one of these will get filled by a defensive guy. There's just maybe if they really like one of these defensive guys that's open up. But listen, it's a couple of names I'm looking that's not on here that I think could be in the NFL. I'm thinking about Lincoln Riley. I still hear his name pop up every now and then. He could be in the NFL. I heard some rumblings about Dan Mullins. He's supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. Maybe he gets in the NFL. Matt Rule came out of nowhere last time I checked. Cliff Kingsbury came out of nowhere last time I checked. So it's possible that some of these guys that we're not talking about as much in college could end up being, a head coach in the NFL. I see Matt Campbell. He's a good candidate. So, a lot of these guys that get fired, they might not even get another head coaching opportunity, to be honest with you. They probably going to head to be a DC or OC or head to the couch. Or, if they want to try this out, go to college and be a head coach. But, everybody ain't Herm Edwards. You can't just, roll up into this thing and know what you're doing. So, with that said, listen, I wasn't surprised. Like I said, Anthony Lynn probably closest to the surprise. But I am really anxious to see who are the guys to replace these coaches to see if I'm on the right track with the future of the NFL.
Yeah, none of these jobs really took me back. I mean, we in off conversations, I told y'all I thought Anthony Lynn might get the can this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a little surprised with how Herbert played that they went ahead and did it. Like you said, I think there's something to be said about his success and maybe kind of keeping what you had. But you can also argue that with Herbert's success, the team's success didn't come. I mean, yeah, the Chargers finished 7-9. Okay, but they won their last four, including a win against Kansas City when all their players were resting. I mean, their last four games of the season were Atlanta, Vegas, Denver, and Kansas City. I mean, none of those really jump off the paper like, whoa, wow. I mean, I don't think any of those teams. I think they knocked Vegas out of the playoffs. The other three teams are already out of the playoffs, so it's not really a big thing. They were basically 3-7. When I'm sorry, 3-9 when the playoffs mattered. So it looks a little better at the end of the tenure than it does. And I think the problem with Anthony Lynn really came down to managing the clock, special teams, coaching decisions. 9 of their last 11 losses last year were within a score. And this year, all but 2 of their losses were within a score. I mean, besides, of course, the Patriots absolutely just destroying them for no reason. But it just seems like the team.
Also, I was gonna say I think they slapped on some of that Phillip Rivers era on top of that too, because I mean he was the coach last year and or whatnot too. So I think that
Right.
went into the equation as well.
Right, but I mean, after a playoff appearance in 18, you go 5-11 and 19, and then you have another disappointing campaign where you're basically 3-9 when the season matters, despite Herbert playing as well as he did. I think when you get a guy like Justin Herbert and you realize, oh crap, I've got a guy. I don't have just some dude. I don't have a Jared Goff or something or a Sam Bradford. I've got a guy with Justin Herbert. You go out there and you get him everything he needs to succeed. You get him a coach, get him a coordinator, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing Jacksonville's going to do. Oh, we have a guy with Trevor Lawrence. He ain't just some dude. You're going to go get Urban Meyer. You're going to pay him whatever he wants and then a little bit extra. You're going to go let him get anyone he wants on his staff. I mean, when you finally find your guy, you got to go for it. And yeah, I mean, you can say most of these guys didn't get the fairest shot in the world. Doug Marrone, especially, I can tell you all about it. But Jay really kind of covered it pretty well. Again, you gave the man one elite defense one year, and then you just basically stripped the roster year after year after year. What was he supposed to do? But being a nice guy and whatever, that doesn't win games. And I don't think that he's a guy that can really coach anything out of a roster. And when I look at a head coach, I say, is this guy good or is he just okay? Can he give me what I have on paper, or does he give me more than what I have on paper? Jaguars are a 1-15 team on paper, gave you 1-15. I mean, and that's is what it is. So I feel like all these guys kind of shared that. They just gave you what you had, nothing more. But I think Drake, you make an interesting point. There's a lot of guys in these ranks that are coming up, and I think a lot of college coaches in the next 4 or 5 years are going to be jumping ship. I think you're going to see a lot of guys like Dan Mullen and Matt Campbell. They're going to be looking for NFL jobs versus top tier coaching jobs because the transfer portal and the likeness and image thing. College football is going to change, and it's going to change fast. And a lot of these guys are going to go, look, I'm not going to sit here and recruit guys all day and then spend the whole season trying to keep them happy and grovel into them. I'm tired of it. I'm just going to go to the NFL where I pay a dude or I don't pay a dude. I'm done with it. So I think that the thing with Dan Mullen's interesting. A lot of Florida rumors. His ice is getting real thin, real fast over there. I don't think he's going to get fired this year, but down the list, I think guys like Eric Bieniemy and Brian Daboll are two guys you really look at. Bieniemy was he's a top candidate. I think everyone's interviewed him except maybe the Texans as of yesterday. I don't know if they did it today. And Daboll is a guy that took Josh Allen from bum status to MVP. So, I mean, it's there's some really good coordinators and there's some really good guys in college that could come up. And we mentioned Joe Brady in Carolina. He may get a job young. May try that Sean McVay stuff out. So there's a lot of good candidates, but I think that I'm hoping they'll end Urban Meyer for Jacksonville. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see. I just want some winners, and I want someone who's won a game before to come here. Other than that, man, let it fall where it may.